Hey, I'm so glad that you're here with me. I'm going to show you how to paint this little guy. There's the original picture. And the very first thing I got to do is get my paper prepared. And you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to just try to chat my way through this whole thing without doing any cutting or anything like that. Let's see how close we can get. Because I was talking to my husband, I don't know, about a week or two ago. We were talking about my YouTube channel and how I chat and all that shit. And he sent me a couple of videos of people being very colorful in their language, as I am. However, when I speak on YouTube and shit like that, I always try to sound like a teacher or a professional. And yeah, that's just not... I want to be comfortable. I want to be able to tell you step by step how to go about doing a thing. So welcome to Wendie being Wendie, and let's see where it goes. And so let's go ahead and start with what you're seeing me do here, which is the drawing. Yeah, just drawing the whole thing out, getting the gist of what it is that I'm going to do. And you never know exactly how that's going to be. So I just kind of look at the picture and draw what I feel. It never comes out exact. And if I were to have to sit and go into all those hardcore details, I'd be bored out of my mind. So I just sit and sketch and do my thing. And I step back and look at it and see if I've got a good contextual idea of what it is I'm looking at. When I used to paint acrylic, I loved all the hyper details. But now with watercolor, doing hyper detailed work is more tedious and obnoxious for me. So I do the sketch and then I take off a good amount of it so it's nice and light. And then I begin the painting. And that's what I would say is the biggest thing is do a light sketch, the gist of what it is that you're doing, and then go from there. Go with your intuition versus what you think you should be doing. So anyway, after I get the painting done, I go ahead and start. And you always start with your lightest colors first, and you work your way up and add value with layers and keep just adding depth and texture as you go. And that's what I'm really hoping to share with you in this tutorial is how I get the texture and the feel for it, and even some of the mistakes I've made. At the end, I am not 1,000% happy with this because it has kind of an oval shape instead of a round shape. This is supposed to be eggs in a frying pan, and it looks more like eggs on a black plate. But that's okay. I still like the way it came through as a good feeling. So just watch through and you be the judge. Do you like how it finally turned out? So the egg yolks, this is the greatest story. The egg yolks is a 1 in 25 million chance. Did you know that? 3 egg yolks in one. I mean, that's why we took the picture. I mean, it was just amazing. So where we were was I was at Wallace, Idaho, and my husband and I got there a little bit early, but every year, me and 4 or 5 other girls get together, and we get together somewhere. And this year, and since I'm homeless and live in an RV, I chose an Airbnb in Wallace, Idaho. So we all met in Wallace, and off we went and did our thing and was cooking our breakfast and visiting the center of the universe. If you didn't know Wallace, Idaho, that's where the center of the universe is located. At least that's what they claim. And we were just having just a great time. And when we broke an egg that came from Jenny's chickens up in Waha, Idaho, there were 3 yolks. It was just amazing. So we had to take a picture, and now I had to paint it. And now I'm hoping to share with you kind of the approach or the technique so you get an idea of how to do something that is this small, because this is that one of those 2.5 by 3.5 ACEO things. So I'll be putting it up on my Wendie's Nomadic Vibe store as one of my ACEOs that I'll be selling. So this is kind of a double whammy, promoting the fun I had and the story behind the 3-egg little fry here, and teaching you how to go about doing this. So anyway, the next step in this is, as you're seeing, is I'm using the lightest color because there's bell peppers in there. I'm using the lightest color. I think it's a pyro orange, a very watered down, maybe mixed with a little bit of that lemon, and just kind of sprinkling it in. I really don't have any real rhyme or reason at this point. I don't even think I'm referencing the damn picture anymore. I got the idea. I know what it is that I want it to look like, and I'm doing my thing. So the first layer is always your lightest layer. And I have decided that I'm going to paint the plate. It looks like a plate, but the skillet in the background after I've put down the elements of the potatoes and the onions and the bell peppers. I just think that it just seemed like that was the easier approach, because I really don't know exactly how many pieces of pepper, how many exact pieces of onion and all that I'm going to put in here. So I kind of did it arse backwards, and that's okay, because that's kind of what makes it fun. You know, you just figure it out and go from there and just paint away. So I got to tell you, this mile marker series that I'm creating is, that's pieces of bacon. Sorry about that. That's the longer brownish looking deals. Those are pieces of bacon. The mile marker series that I'm doing is so much fun. I'm starting to really build like a supply in my Wendie's Nomadic Vibes, which you can get to that by looking in the description and clicking on the link, and it should take you right to my website. And if you're interested in any of these ACEOs, you're more than welcome, obviously, to buy. They're only one of a kind. I have taken pictures of all these, so maybe someday I'll do prints. But at this point, I'm just looking to provide original art, and they're one of a kind. They'll never be sold again, and they're very affordable for people to get original pieces of art. It's kind of cool. But it's already doing quite well. I've only been doing it for about a month. And what I'm doing is, everywhere we go on our road trip, if you don't know, my husband and I, full-time RV. You don't need the generator. So my YouTube channel is a mixture of my art, my vibe art, just kind of sharing fun things. Just gonna watch TV? And also our RV travels, and how I get the inspiration to do a lot of the art that I do. And I decided to take you folks along with me, and not only through the YouTube channel, and other social media, but through creating these little ACEOs. When I'm traveling, I don't have a lot of time to sit down and get really deep in the art thing. So these little ACEOs I can paint up fairly fast, and get them out there and get that satisfaction from creating art, because I kind of go batshit crazy if I can't paint. If I go more than 3 days without painting, I just kind of melt down. I just don't like the way that it feels. All right, so sidetrack. What I'm doing here is I'm doing the second layer on the yolks and giving it some depth, so that the yolks aren't laying there flat. There's that 3-dimensional. And what I've done is taken the yellow and mixed it with some of the brown that I did with which I believe was burnt sienna, that I made the bacon out of. And I just started giving dimension to those eggs, so that there's some structure to them. That is something that I see a lot of beginner artists do, is they fail to really get any depth, because they want to do it in kind of like acrylic in one fell swoop. But in order to get that 3-dimensional kind of textural feeling, you must do it in layers. It's like you can't fake it, you can't get around it. There's just absolutely no way to do it than in layer by layer by layer. Now the beauty is it's really freaking hot out, so I don't have to wait for each layer to dry. It dries almost instantaneously. We're talking it's up in the upper 90s right now, so everything is super dry, and so that's an advantage for painting. It's kind of cool. So here I am, and I know there is a lot more to do for the potatoes and the onions and everything, even the bell pepper. But I decided I wanted to add some dimension to the peppers that I'd already done. So I took the Pyro Scarlet and darkened it up a little bit. And it's the same color, it's just a thicker pigment, and started adding a little dimension and highlight to the peppers. That's one of the ways that I work this through is I dance around the piece. I don't just work on one little section, and I recommend that you do the same. I mean, everybody does their own way, but I find that if you bounce from one end of the photo that you're painting to the other, move around the piece as you're going, you can get a much more balanced look. The wash happens just a little more ununiformly when you're trying not to make anything look very structured. I gotta be honest, that's probably my biggest problem is I'm a very linear type of thinker and artistic person. I mean, stained glass was one of my favorite things to do when I had a house because there were so many straight lines and rules and it's very intricate and all of that. Watercolor really opens your mind to getting the best results by relaxing and going with the flow. Does that make any sense? I mean, I hope so. But yeah, so here I am just now. It looks like I'm adding some more potatoes and a little bit more bell peppers and some bacon. So I'm just dancing around, just adding where I feel there needs to be some more detail and more texture to this awesome breakfast. Actually, it was the most incredible breakfast, I tell you. It was incredible. So trust your instincts to just move through a piece. And I got to tell you that my favorite thing to do is I studied the picture really strong. Of course, sketching it out gets you even more familiar with it. But don't seriously reference the piece over and over again. I mean, that is actually one of my favorite little practices to do is to study a picture or be in a landscape and really get a good feel for it. Maybe sketch out the basics or not if I really want to dive in deep and just paint what I remember. Put the picture away, turn my back on the landscape that I'm looking at, and just paint what I can recall. You would be surprised how much detail you actually remember when doing something like that. So, all right, so I added some green peppers to kind of spice it up, and I believe that's green gold because I wanted it to be light because bell peppers have almost that yellow hue to it, and so I just added some sparklings of that in there. There's kind of here and there, and then I didn't record it. I skipped over it. You can see that there's like this gray circle in there. I forgot to hit record. So you missed about a minute and a half of painting. But all I did was fill in with some of the gray. And what I'm doing now is just going in between some of the pieces to fill in the gray. And I added obviously some more potatoes and things of that nature fluffed up. So you missed some of that, but it's not terrible. So now, in order to give highlight and texture to the skillet in the background, um, that's what I'm doing there is just trying to super highlight and give texture. I don't want to just do a black flat. I'm trying to give some background to it and some texture. And this right here, right freaking there is where I lose it. and I lose the round shape trying to fit it into the little piece of paper there, and it goes oval. And it doesn't, you'll see as I'm working it, no matter how hard I try, I can't seem to undo the oval look. Maybe it's just in my head, maybe it doesn't matter, but as you see in the lower right hand corner, that's where it went sideways. I should have just made that completely solid gray and just had the two sides on the left with the white background. And you see, I'm trying to fix it and trying to pull it together, but it because watercolor is layered, I swear to you, it just never got fixed. It never got undone. So there's a point where I just say, screw it. I'm just gonna it's a mistake that I
Okay,
did on
smell.
purpose. Yes, yes, indeed. It was a mistake done on purpose. And, you know, I try, but it's okay. Um, if I didn't tell you about this, about the fact that I wanted that to be round versus oval, probably wouldn't have even noticed. And we're very, very hard on ourselves. So here I am. What I'm doing here is just adding more and more depth to that skillet. And do you see how the it goes on kind of dark and then it like disappears and spreads out? That's because I'm using Arsh 100% cotton watercolor paper. You can use pulp paper, uh, and that'll be fine, but it's not going to do that. Like, I don't know if you noticed, just watch for it. And when I put it that black down, you can really see it. It just kind of like sips it. There you go. Watch that. See how nice and dark that is? And in no time at all, it dissipates, and just a touch of water spreads it around, and it doesn't look stark and hard. Isn't that the coolest thing? You are not going to get that type of technique from pulp paper, paper that's made out of wood, um, and versus cotton. It's just not going to happen. You can do it, but your layers are going to be you have to work them and push it around with your brush a heck of a lot more than you do with the Arch watercolor paper. All right, so what I'm doing is covering the egg yolks because I don't want them to be um, splattered. I'm adding some texture. I don't know. Think of it as pepper. I'm adding pepper to this whole thing, just trying to get a little bit of texture going on, a little uneven depth to the piece. And the black in this at this point is wet. So you see it didn't make like super dark spots. It just kind of makes a texture. You can zoom in and see how that works. It's pretty cool. And what I'm doing there is just picking up some of the splatters that I didn't like. They were too stark. I didn't like how thick it was, so I'm just going through and picking up some of the splatters that were in there. And all that's doing is just making some texture, cleaning up around, because especially if you got white edges like I do in this picture, you definitely want to keep your space clean. So I'm just wiping off that splatter because you can end up smudging it and dropping it through the whole picture, which is a real pain in the ass and enough to make you just want to just chuck the whole thing in the trash because it's like, ah. So there we go. I'm ready to there. I'm trying to fix it, trying to fix it. Okay, we're going to have us a round thing. Yeah, it's too late. It's still oval, but that's okay. And I don't know. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do about that. But the finished product, I think, looks just awesome and fun. And like I said, unless you knew that I was trying to make that a skillet, you would think it was just a gray colored plate, right? There you go. And so there you go. But yeah, at this point, just kind of sitting back and looking at it, seeing what I like, what I don't like, making some decisions of what I'm going to change and what I'm not going to change, how much of it I'm going to keep as is. Oh, I decide at this point that I'm going to use some of my Dr. Martin's bleed proof white because the white highlight of the egg I want to accentuate. And I also want to accentuate, which was a real pain in the ass because I had to go in between the vegetables in order to highlight some of the white of the egg that I cooked up there. But it works. So the Dr. Martin's bleed proof white is a almost like a gouache, but it is considered watercolor. It's just a really heavy duty, opaque, thick white watercolor type paint. And because you can't really layer opaque colors as well on top of this. So this is one of the exceptions where I'm using a light color on top of the other colors. So I'm just kind of going in and making sure that you can tell that that's a fried egg and the white of the egg is cooked along and in between the vegetables that are there. And I tell you, my friend Jenny, I cannot believe what an outstanding cook she is. Nobody is going to fall in love with me with my cooking, although I did make some badass biscuits the other day. I've been trying for like 40 years to make really great homemade biscuits, and I finally succeeded. I made a little short on it because it was so good. I just woke up in the morning, got a hair up my ass to make biscuits, gave it one last try, and oh my God, they were so good. But I look like hell because I'm all sleepy and my eyes are all puffy. And, I'm an old lady. I'm 58 years old. And yeah, probably don't want to do videos when I first wake up because it's pretty rough. But it worked. And I wanted to share my biscuit success. But anyway, Jenny, anything that she touches tastes like just ambrosia. I mean, she is just, I wish I could cook like she does. And when she made this skillet for us with her 3 damn eggs and all that luck, we were all in heaven. It was pretty incredible. So here we go. What do you think? I mean, is it coming along? You liking what you see? And I got to do the whole YouTube thing. Please like and subscribe. Share with somebody that you think would love to learn a little bit about painting small and the layered effect, and some more uh, real time painting tutorial that shows you what the tediousness of some of the artwork that we do. So this isn't something, the video was 30, this video is about 30 minutes long, which is a pretty long YouTube video, I know. But in reality, it took about an hour. That's how much I cut out. I cut out about a half hour worth of beginnings and pauses because there's a lot of pauses. And it was just because I just did a straight video and it was like, oh God, there was just too much where it was just the piece just sitting there, dead air. So I cut a lot of that out. But yeah, I think that watching the real time approach to a little tiny piece of art like this can hopefully teach you a lot and show you, because I know on social media, a lot of times it looks so fast and easy and simple, and it looks like it takes no time at all, and it's super easy. And that's why I like to do these long forms every once in a while to show you the reality of what it takes to do a pretty damn decent picture. And I I know it's just eggs and a breakfast scramble or whatever, but for me, this brings back some incredible memories of a great time with my friends and great food cooked by Jenny. And my husband actually cooked us a meal one night. He came in from the campground and cooked his famous spaghetti. That was pretty amazing. Um, but the girls wanted to know the secret to his amazing spaghetti. He makes the best spaghetti on the planet. There's something special about it. They even dug through the damn trash looking for all the meats that he puts in it. and took pictures of the spices he had sitting on the counter. And yeah, it was pretty funny. And I just love my friends. And this weekend was so incredible. And I'm so excited to share this mile marker series collection with the world because I, there's just nothing like female friendship. And we've been friends for, God, we were thinking about it. I'm 58. I really connected with these girls when I was in my late 20s, early 30s through the Chamber of Commerce. And we were friends up until our mid to late 30s. Well, we're still friends, but we've all moved. Things have happened in life, and we all loved each other so much, we decided to start getting together once a year in like 2010. So for me, this picture is the epitome of that. And what I'm doing here is just adding some depth to the egg and the yolk. And again, you have to there's no black and white step by step perfection, in my opinion, that you can show how to do a picture. I mean, I guess you can, and I've done a couple, but they never ever turn out exactly the same, right? What I'm hoping to show you with this video is not only share my memories of a wonderful weekend, but um, the idea behind the outcome that you're after. So you see, I come back and I tweak and I play, I'm lifting, I'm darkening the plate a little bit, I highlight it a little bit more, I add some depth to the white of the egg. I picked up some of the darkness on the egg yolk so that one on the that's closest to you on the far right, that was the biggest egg yolk. The other two were kind of small in comparison. So I took some of the darkness away to make sure that it looked bigger. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I'm pretty much done here. And I think the very last thing I need to do is fiddle fuck some more. Ah, how many times have I taught a class and said, okay, stop fiddle fucking around? Yeah, yeah, I couldn't resist. It's got to be darker. It's got to be darker. Trying to fix that round oval situation and realizing that's not going to change. But that's okay. But yeah, I mean, you just keep pulling back and looking. Where do you want a little more of something? And you got to watch it because this is the time that you can end up really screwing it up if you fiddle fuck too much and you add too much, you're trying to lift too much. At some point, you just got to stop and just accept that it is done. And that's what I've done. Here's the signature coming up because I never leave a piece without giving it a signature. I think that is one of the most important things. We all need to own our art. And there we go, my little signature there. And then, of course, I'm going to include the tape pool in this because how can you possibly watch 30 minutes of painting without having the tape pool in the end? And here I'm even kind of struggling with getting my name out. So I dip my brush again because it's just, to me, this is one of the hardest things to do because sometimes it's too wet, sometimes it's too dry. But here we go. All right, guys. I hope you learned a little something. And if you did, let me know what was the thing you learned that you can find yourself applying to a future project, or if you decide you want to do this project. And did you like what you watched? And what is your favorite part? I mean, I really love to hear from you guys. I'm building my channel. I want more people to learn and to be a part of my life and to share my journey on the road and in my art. And there you go. This little piece will be, and is at the time of this recording, I just put it up today, is available on my shop. Again, go to the link in the description. And I even put it in the first comment so it's easy to click onto. And I hope you really love this. And I really love making it for you. And I love you so much. Mwah! I'll talk to you soon.